Back. Oh. Well, sorry if you saw me cough there. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. Weeds. I needed to cough to start to talk about Weeds. Weeds, the series review. I'm here today to just talk about my thoughts and look back at the entire series of Weeds. This is a special request for one of our Super Chat donators, so huge thanks to Jasmine for requesting this, and especially for the Super Chat donations. It means so much. And anyone else out there that has made some requests, and if I haven't done them yet and you want to make sure I stay on it, never hesitate to message me and go, listen asshole, we donated money, where's my freaking review? I know there's a lot of shit to do, but I want it now, mister. Or at least just to remind me. I know upcoming I'll be doing the anime series Gungrave for somebody that requested that. Also, Matt and I eventually will be talking about the Sopranos series finale, and someone else also requested that Joe and I do a little bit of a Game of Thrones prediction video. All of which will be coming at some point in time. But today we're going to be talking about Weeds for Jasmine. When I saw the message that Jasmine sent me, you don't need to push the long-haired weirdo to talk about weed. You don't need to do it. We talk about sandwiches a lot on the show, but today we're going to be talking about fucking weed. We're not having sex with weed. That could really become a sticky situation. I'm not suggesting that unless you have a hemp sexual toys that are properly lubricated. But I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get too deeply into that type of discussion for anyone that wants to hear me talk about the fucking show Weeds. So what is Weeds? Oh, wait, holy shit, out of the corner of my side butthole eye. I wasn't sure if I'd have anyone with me today, as this was unannounced, and about a random series that not everyone necessarily knows about, or may want to talk about, or even has a positive feeling about because of something we'll get into as we go on here. But I'm not alone. I have with me the live motherfucking chat. Right now we got Mike and Ducks, and some other folks will be popping on in throughout the program. Also have a call-in line and a voicemail line if you want to get in the discussion right now at 657-383-1435 and a voicemail line at 781-990-8509. If you have anything you want to say about Weeds, feel free to leave a message or a text on that, or jump into the live motherfucking chat so we can talk all about it. So what is Weeds? And I'm not talking about specifically what's weed. I mean, if you don't know what weed is, I strongly recommend you shut this channel off, unsubscribe, unfollow. No, I'm kidding. But Weeds was a television series that was on Showtime, made by Jenji Kohan. And people nowadays might know the name Jenji Kohan from her work or creating her next shows, Orange is the New Black. She also is a producer in Glow and lots of shit. But this was really her breaking out series, and I think really established how she makes shows. I think she starts things off really, really well. She's almost in some ways like Ryan Murphy, but different to me. Obviously different kinds of programming, but I think Weeds is very, very good in my opinion. Just overall strokes here. Weeds is very good for the first 3 seasons. Seasons 1 through 3 have a pretty tight narrative and feel to the universe as a whole. Then we get into seasons 4 and 5, I believe it is, maybe even 6 too. I'd have to look back here, and we're going to go through all of them. When we get into the period of time in Weeds that I like to call, we want to be a more important show than we are seasons. And then there was this block of seasons that it got too melodramatic in my opinion, and smelled its own farts just a little bit too much, and forgot what makes the series great in my mind and what made it awesome. The characters, the main characters, and the humor in the series. And then I think in the last couple of years, even though a lot of people will be like, oh, fuck, it got horrible in those last years. I think they especially in the last season, especially the last season, they understood what found the series funny and got back to being funny based around the characters. What I will say about Weeds is, even though I don't like all of the steps that it made along the path to be whatever the show that it was, I respect them for not wanting to do the same show for 7 years. And even if some shit didn't work out, they were constantly trying to kind of reinvent what the show was and reinvent the different scenes and the different side characters and everything that was going on in it. You had those first 3 seasons, which were very much about Agrestic, Regestic, or whatever the other place was, and about the small town, the little boxes on the hillside, the little boxes. Then you had the Mexican cartel seasons of 4 and 5, I believe. Then you had the Lilyhammer season when they were somewhere else and Nancy had another side story. And then you eventually had the New York season and then the back to little boxes on a hillside season where they went back to a small town. So they constantly were trying to adjust and change focus of where the locale of the show was. But I think within the heart of the show were a few characters that were exceptionally important to the entertaining aspect of it. Nancy, we'll get again into Nancy in a bit. But to me, for my entertainment value, the best 2 aspects of that show were always Andy and Doug. I think above all else, throughout the series, Kevin Nealon and Justin Kirk, is that his name, were incredibly fucking funny guys. I will go further. I am a Justin Kirk fanboy in the sense of him on Weeds. Every time I talk about the show Orville, which people are like, Orville, what the fuck are you talking about Orville for? And I say, Justin Kirk should have been the captain. Not just because his name's Kirk, but because I think he plays this comedy really, really well. And I feel like he doesn't always... There haven't been a lot of really great parts for him since Weeds. I think Andy makes the show. And Kevin Nealon adds a fucking shit ton, too. And I think the combination of those two's humor is what consistently makes the show entertaining for me. Shane and Silas are hit or miss for me. There's times I like them, their storylines. There's times I'm just like, oh, I don't give a fuck about Shane and Silas. And Nancy is a fucking egocentric, megamaniacal control freak, manipulating entity. And we're going to get all into Nancy. Oh, I'm going to get all up into Nancy. And I like Conrad, Helia, like some of those side characters. But I'm talking about characters that went Celia Hodes, talking about all the characters that went all the way through. I think the thing that constantly made the series entertaining for me was Justin Kirk and Kevin Nealon and their humor, the way their lines were written, some of their rants, their monologues, their interactions with other characters, because they were so outside the norm of real humans in some ways. Let's go into the live motherfucking chat right now and see. Did someone say weed? Says Tom. We got Tom himself. That all I need to do is say weed. We got Tom himself in there. We got Broke Blackman 94, who said I saw 3 episodes, so spoiled the fuck out of me. Mike says weeds that grow in the garden. That this show about landscapers. What's good, Tom? Mike says Kevin Nealon was good. He's just funny as fuck. And there was Kevin Nealon's character on Weeds. There was no filter on it at all. Completely no filter. And I don't know how much they let Kevin Nealon improv in the role. I didn't really dig too deep into that. All I know is that Kevin Nealon has some of the most ridiculously amazing one-liner, ranty type things that he says in this show. And it breaks all sorts of new crazy ground. I'm going to be playing a few of these throughout the series, and it may end up having this video fucking flagged or some shit. I hope not. I hope not. I hope not get any copyright things, and if I do, I hope it's not blocked. Then you guys all have to tell Jasmine I did this. If she's not watching and this video gets blocked. But I need to play clips from Weeds. I can't talk about this series completely without playing a little something from the series. So I'm going to play one of my favorite throughout here. I'm going to play a couple of my favorite moments, or just maybe even some just highlight reels of some characters of Weeds. But all in all, especially in the late half of the series, this is my point, that even when Weeds got completely outrageous and over the top in those final couple of seasons, what made those few seasons a little bit above the rest, above 4 and 5 for me, is because I'd rather the show be nonsensical than take itself too seriously, as it did with the Esteban storyline. So this was one of my favorite moments in the later half of Weeds.
Let's recap, shall we? Your date with Mr. Big Shot produces nothing but a gaping hole in my chest where my career used to be. And you turn out to be
Let me fast forward this to where I want it.
Thereby assassinating your credibility.
So spoiler alert, Nancy gets arrested, or Nancy allows herself to be arrested at one point in time in the series. And when she gets out and she gets into a halfway house, she starts going back to her old ways and getting busted for it. I'm yada-yadaing a lot of the information. Broke said I've never seen it. Don't spoil it for me. I may spoil some of the points, some of the overall story arcs here. We're in such a series that ended in, what year did this fucking series end? It was in, the final season was in 2012. So ultimately, it's whatever. I am going to spoil parts of it. Weeds is something that, it's one of those series that it isn't about the conclusion. It's more about the individual scenes and the characters and the humorous aspects of it. So the people that know me and know all the bullshit I talk about on this channel, it makes sense that I like a show like Weeds even when the story gets ridiculous, because I do generally like enough of the characters. I become I'm looking deeply into the eyes of Kevin Nealon here let's finally listen to this. Finally, after 20 minutes of this podcast, let's finally listen to my favorite Kevin Nealon moment in the back half of the series. So Kevin Nealon has been brought into an office in the SEC, I believe it is, and they're fucking Nancy over in this situation, setting her up. Kevin Nealon gets brought in because they busted him as well, and this is how Kevin Nealon deals with the situation.
I've heard of you guys.
Oh, yeah? I should fucking hope so.
Yeah, you guys have those federal pension plans tied in with our mainstay fund.
What's he talking about?
What are you talking about?
Burnt orange. I see numbers as color. I'll explain later. 5 years ago, Uncle Sam bet your retirement plans on our good judgment. It's all right here in the files. If we go down, you go down. That's right, Meatball. Not only are you going to let the two of us off the hook right here, but you're going to give your bosses in D.C. a ring to make sure that our firm's road to success is paved with the Fed's good graces, plenty of deregulations, and a laissez-faire sense of letting us do our goddamn jobs. What's the matter, Agent Scary Lips? Your scary lips tasting my hairy shit? You tasting Doug Wilson's world-famous beef stew? How's it going down? It's kind of spicy, right? You guys are so fucked right now. All I can think about is your wife and a horse. Go ahead, take us down. Watch our shares plummet if you want to retire with your dick in our ass, but it's a whole lot sunnier in Florida.
Doug Wilson, Jesus Christ.
Okay. We're gonna need a second to talk about this.
No way. I'm free to go. Same goes for her.
And, no halfway house. No parole. No calling your friends at the DEA.
Okay, I mean, there's more to it there, but I'm not gonna bemuse the quote. That it's basically that rant right there that he gets. I fucking love it, and he just there's so many rants like that by Kevin Nealon all the way through the series. And I'm gonna play some of them. I'm gonna play another video that's Andy and Doug's top moments at some point in time, and it's just so many funny one-liners. It's so. I just fucking love his character. I love listening to him bitch and moan and go crazy like that. To answer Broke's question, does it bug me when people compare this series to Breaking Bad? I wouldn't say it bugs me, but it's really short-sighted, and it's really kind of just going by paint by the numbers. Oh, this is about an adult that drug deals. I mean, ultimately, except for the fact that they're both drug dealers, there's some parallels to certain storylines that happen at times, but the main narrative of the series have nothing to do with each other. I mean, Nancy and Walter, I guess you could compare Nancy and Walter if you were doing a character study about selfish people, but I think Walter is a lot more evil than Nancy ever was. Nancy is more just egocentric, and she gets caught up in her own philosophy, and she's such a control freak because every person she's ever cared about, and when she's ever relaxed to be in love with someone, her husbands have died. She's been married. In the series, she was married three times, I believe that we see. Or the whole series starts out with her being a widow, that her husband dies from a heart attack while jogging with their son. And didn't leave her any money because spent all their nest egg on redoing the kitchen or something. And the kitchen looks great. So Nancy decides to start selling weed. And actually, the series starts out where she's already selling weed. For this review, I decided to go back and watch for this review, I decided to go back and watch the first episode and the last episode, the 2-part final episode, just to be more familiar with the series again as a whole. I had seen the whole series of Weeds probably about 3 times maybe, so I felt like I didn't need to necessarily do a complete rewatch, but some things might be kind of fuzzy for me. But ultimately, I don't think Nancy is a really evil person where Walter crossed into that line. I don't think Nancy would hurt children or potentially hurt children to prove a point, or let someone like Jane die in that moment in the way that Walter did these crazy, unforgivable things that you can look at. And even if he made up for it later by protecting his family and saving Jesse, he still was in some ways you could look at as an unredeemable character. Nancy's more of a relatable manipulator, that just one of those people that Andy says it perfect in the series finale. I just can't be around you, Pants. I love the fuck out of you. You care about us. You want the best for us, but when bad shit keeps happening to you in your life and you're used to it and you go through that cycle, you start to be able to only control what's in front of you. And you want to create this perfect fucking ant farm or whatever, this perfect little place, or not even perfect, this just safe little place that as long as you're the one dictating terms, you know what to expect. So you're never going around too many turns. You're never letting your guard down and be hurt again. And I think that's what drives Nancy's manipulation. I think at core, I would argue she's a good person and cares about her family and definitely isn't doing this all for her selfish benefits. Walter at the beginning definitely did do things for his selfish benefit. So to answer Brooke's question in a really roundabout way, because I can't answer yes or no questions because I'm fucking wacky and insane, the answer to that question is the series honestly have nothing to do with each other. One is a half-an-hour comedy series set in a farcical world. Maybe in seasons 4 and 5 it tries to be a little bit more serious, but ultimately it's always in this sort of fictitious universe. Breaking Bad's also a fictitious universe, but it's not comedy at all. It is funny sometimes, but there's nothing really, except for Saul Goodman, there's nothing really funny in that world. I mean, Jesse has his moments too, but it's not. It's more of pulp drama than comedy, than satire comedy. That all being said, I think if people want to dig deep, you could make the comparisons with Nancy and Walter. And I see some of the parallels between the two of them, although I would argue that Nancy is way better of a person. Way better of a person. So let's go back into the live motherfucking chat. Oh, we got Sylvia, we got Benjamin, we got so many great people in the live motherfucking chat right now. You guys are awesome. Love Kevin Nealon. Put just 30 seconds max as a clip. If you're pausing and commenting like every 15 seconds, they can't. Oh yeah, with the block. Yeah, fuck that shit. Phil, you love it when a show gets ridiculous. Lost, Glee, and of course Joe's favorite, The Walking Dead. Shadow says, do I need to come brush your hair, Phil? You have the same hair as my son, and I still brush it for him. It's crazy wild. It is. You do need to come brush my hair, especially today where this is me basically just getting out of bed and coming and doing a podcast where I didn't have time to shower or clean. But yes, please, if you are offering to comb my hair, I would be a fool not to take you up on your offer. So if you want to come by, well, I'll meet you. I need some help. I need some serious help. It's all in my face. Lots of things are in my face. Bury the drug-free Bernard in the business. Oh my god, I love you guys in the live motherfucking chat. You guys are amazing. Always reviewing my favorite shows. You're the man. Nick, you're the fucking man. Thank you for popping on in there. You guys are amazing. I love all of you guys in the live motherfucking chat. And Sylvia, absolutely. Nancy, and the moment where that becomes more of a factor in the series is the brick dance moment, which introduces Guillermo, who lots of fucking amazing characters on this show. And I think that in some ways that was one of its problems, that it kept introducing new interesting characters and it forgot about some of the other interesting characters. And occasionally you got characters bringing back, like Helio was a very interesting character that eventually did get brought back in, Conrad as well, Guillermo as well. all those characters did leave and come back a couple times. So I get it. I just didn't love every arc in Weeds. Now, you rock. Uncle D in the live motherfucking chat. The fun has arrived. We got the Walking David in the live chat. Fuck logic. So what else can I say before I get into a little bit more of a recap about the series? I mean, a couple more broad strokes of Weeds here. It got dark sometimes with some of the choices that it made with Shane. But Shane's one of those characters that I think, it's not that I don't like the performance of him, but I feel like where they ended up going with Shane, I don't necessarily love. I don't like where they went with each individual character. Whereas someone like Silas, I didn't like Silas at the beginning, but I grew to like him more and even relate to his situation with his father and with wanting to just grow and falling in love with that. I think I like Shane earlier on better, and then I like Silas later on better. But I definitely think neither of those characters were awful. I think they just weren't as captivating or interesting to me as Andy or Doug were. So here we go. Let's continue. Glad I'm able to watch the stream for something I actually fucking watched. And I'm glad you guys are able to join the fun as well and check out
This is my lawyer, Dean Hodes.
Gentlemen, we called this meeting because my client's tired of
We don't
running.
care.
Go fuck yourself.
You're in possession of U.S. military hardware, Mr. Botwin?
Where's the phone?
My client neither confirms nor denies the...
Shut up.
Suck yourself.
I'm setting in front of you documents which, when signed, will honorably discharge you from the United States Army Reserves.
You're the drone guy, right? Lawyer?
Oh, this is the clip I was looking for.
All right, listen closely. I'm not going to beat around the bush.
We weren't gonna scrap that.
Your little body's changing. It's all good, believe me.
This is a discussion that Andy is having somewhere, I believe it's in season 3, and this is an example of why I love Andy. And I could play a billion Andy lines, but this is Andy teaching Shane, the young kid. Shane's been jerking off all over the house. He's been jerking off into his socks and flushing his socks down the toilet. And the plumber comes and finds all the socks, and they figure out that figure out what's going on. I think Silas busts him. He says, it's fucking Shane. He's been jerking off everywhere. So Nancy tells Andy to talk to Shane about jerking off. Let's listen to this conversation as an example of why Justin Kirk is the best aspect of this show.
Problem now is, every time we jerk the gherkin, we end up with a lot of unwanted sticky white stuff everywhere, right? Right. So, first order of business, no more socks. They're expensive, gumming up the works, plumbing-wise. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, but Uncle Andy, what do I do with all that Pearl Jam if I can't spew it into Mr. Sock? Glad you asked. You can have a lovely time tugging the tiger in the shower each morning. That eliminates the need for a goo glove. But the day is long, masturbation's fun, so unless we want to take 4 or 5 showers every day, we're going to need some other options here. So let's start with the basics. Tissues, perfectly acceptable backstop for all that creamy Italian. They can be rough and dry on such soft, sensitive skin, not to mention they can stick to your dickhead like a fucking Band-Aid. Ouch. From there, we move on to more lubricated flat catchers, specifically bananas. Step 1, peel the banana. Step 2, slip the peel over your Randy Johnson.
Sorry, I have to stop for a second. I'm going to go back. I'm going to play the rest of the clip. But his line delivery is just so fucking hilarious to me. I cannot take this guy sometimes. And there's so many of these throughout the series. There's this point where he does this web series of Andy's School of Education stuff. I'm going to play a bunch of those later, but I got to play more of this. Here's some more.
Start pitching. Now for extra credit, warm up the peel in the microwave, not too hot. Serious yowza. Also, olive oil, moisturizer, honey, spit, butter, hair conditioner, and Vaseline can all be used for lube. In my opinion, the best lube is lube. So save your allowance, invest in some soon. All right, moving on. When you tug your Thomas on the toilet, shoot right into the bowl. In bed, soft t-shirt, perhaps a downy hand towel of your very own that you don't mind tossing after tossing. There's no such thing as polishing the raised scepter of love too much. It reduces stress, it enhances immune function. Also, Practice makes perfect, so work on your control now while you're a solo artist. You'll be playing some long, happy duets in the future. All right, class dismissed. Hey. Homework.
So that's just a small example. That's one of my favorite Andy moments in the series. But there's so many. It's okay. I could play clips from Nancy and shit Nancy did, or I could play clips from certain moments that have plot-oriented stuff on Weeds. But I think that's stuff that's much better watching if you're watching throughout the series. The thing that I haven't talked about yet, and the person I should talk about that is so essentially important to the first half of Weeds, those first 3 seasons, but kind of gets forgotten about through Time of Weeds because towards the end, in the last couple of seasons, she became a joke of a character. And what I mean is a joke of a character, like an afterthought kind of character. And then she sort of had negative feelings about her time on the show, or negative feelings about her relationship with the real Nancy Botwin, not the real Mary-Louise Parker. Like, I don't know. I'm sort of bullshitting about this because I don't have the stories in front of me. But that's of Elizabeth Banks as Celia Hodes. This character is so prototypical little boxes on the hillside. I understand why they couldn't continue with her character. I do wish they brought her back, but I think they tried and they couldn't do it for whatever reason. She didn't want to come back, or I'm not sure exactly. As I said, I don't have all that crap in front of me, so I just be bullshitting out my ass. Which, how's that different than most of my podcasts? But it would be extra bullshit out my ass, and it would be extra. No one wants to see that shit, or no one wants me to continue with this line of thought. But they tried to get her back, and it just didn't quite work out. But Celia Hodes' character is such a miserable, horrible, bitchy, mean asshole of a person, but still in a weird way innocent. She's also the most horrible mother you'll ever see in the universe of television, minus someone who directly beats or like physically hurts their kids. In a mental way, it is one of the, I'm using the word best as a way of describing how intensely amazing it is. One of the strongest representations of a horrible, mentally abusive parent that you'll ever see anywhere, and it's done in a very comedic way and done in a really fucked up way with her and her daughter. And why am I blanking on her daughter's name right now? I will get it in a second here. And who was her? What was her character's name? List of Weeds characters. And sorry, see the Wilson. I'm sorry. I need to find this. Isabel. Isabel. And quick example of that. She'd say Isabel, who is a little bit of a larger girl, and the first time we meet Celia Hodes, the first time she talks to her daughter's playing soccer. And she's like, I just kicked the ball, Mom. Aren't you so proud of me? And she goes, less kicking and more running. That burns calories, Isabelly. And she goes like that with her belly. And then through the whole series, she's just attacking her daughter over and over again. And then her daughter definitely gets her back. Celia Hodes is one of those characters in these early seasons. It's ones that's so fucking horrible, right? So fucking horrible of a character that you cannot wait to see her comeuppance. But then when the comeuppance happens, it's so bad. At first, you're like, yeah, look at all this horrible shit happening to this person. Yeah, because they're a horrible person. And then it just goes over the top crazy. And they just keep throwing shit at Celia. And to me, it's one of the driving forces of the beginning part of the series. It's this fear for Celia, then that all getting broken down, and then Celia becoming a joke of a character, and unfortunately just disappearing, because I think they could have found ways to make her a part of the series through the whole way, and for whatever reason, Elizabeth Perkins didn't have the best time working on Weeds, and decided to not be a part of the series ever again, which is a shame, because I feel like her character is essentially important to that early part of what made early part of Weeds really great. Oh, I love fucking Nancy. Forgot about the banana. My friend hollowed out a cucumber once. Oh, gosh. Fucking craziness. Crazy. So let's continue here, and I will talk a little bit about the Weeds episodes. So, the Weeds seasons. So let me get into this fucking shit and talk about each season of Weeds as what the arc was. So the first season of Weeds starts out with Nancy's family living in a Agrestic. We find out that her husband Judah died of a heart attack while jogging with the younger son. Nancy and what am I doing? Like, come on. What kind of show is this? Do I want to really do this, or do I want to really not do it? I'm a fucking asshole. And if I'm going to do this, I got to play the music. Recap! Okay. That's as much excitement as I can get for a recap right now. Love you guys in the live motherfucking chat. Oh, we got some texts. I'm sorry I didn't see you guys text. 420. I love Weeds. Great fucking show. Not always awesome, but I definitely like it a lot. Okay. Ian, let's continue down. Okay, so Nancy's chief antagonist in the season is Celia Hodes, who's image obsessed and manipulating. One thing about the series premiere and the series finale, there's a lot of parallels. It all starts out with Nancy at a parents-teachers kind of meeting and talking, or PTA kind of meeting, and having an opposition. In the first, it's Celia who they're talking about. Nancy wants to ban all sugary drinks or all sodas from school campus. And Celia's basically saying, yeah, we can keep diet sodas because we don't care about the chemicals. We just care about our kids being fat. But ultimately it all follows her, and we see the establishment of her drug dealing, and it becomes more difficult. She expands her customer base into the state college. She hires a character named Sanjay, who eventually gets one of her drug dealer's sisters or something pregnant, and then he goes off and has a whole side story with that. She soon is threatened by a rival drug dealer named Alejandro, who considers it his territory. She then has a brief sexual encounter with him. Also at Valley College, a sexual encounter outside on her car. She fucks him. It's really random too. It comes out of nowhere in the series. You're like, okay, I guess this is a part of the series. And then the result is a guard politely returning the marijuana to a puzzled Nancy and apologizes. Okay, then unbeknownst to her, Conrad and a friend pay a visit to the security guard who stole weed from Nancy, and the security guard eventually gives the weed back to Nancy. And Nancy and Peter, the single father of a kid bitten by Shane in a karate tournament, develop an attraction for each other, and they end up sleeping together. There's also attraction between Nancy and Conrad, much to Helia's annoyance, which doesn't get paid off, but kind of gets paid off throughout the series. It's something that just gets hangs over the head there. They do have some completion of that, but it's very quick-lived, which is a shame because I like Conrad. He's another character that you'll recognize. This actor, the actor that plays Conrad, what's his name? His name is Romy Malico. He's been in a lot of shit. I can't place what the main thing I know him from, but if you saw him, you would recognize him in a lot of things. So Nancy finds out that the guy that's her new boyfriend is a DEA agent. And that's how the season ends, on a very exciting point. Alex has just dropped in to tell you again, watch The Expense, fucker. You better watch The Expense. Tom says, thank you. I really need a recap. I was too high watching the show. Nice. Killmonger smoking some White Thunder right now. Fuck. I need to take a sandwich break in a second to continue here. I wonder if Kirk Cameron's seen that scene. Oh my god. Yes, where are my Nancy clips? Show me a Nancy clip. Fine, I'm going to show you a Nancy clip. Nancy best scene on Weeds. Let's see what they have. Let's see what we do here. Let's play a few seconds of Nancy.
Mother fucking
let it out.
cock sucking
That's
son of a bitch, hillbilly, stalker, asshole.
That's right, baby. Let it out. Come on.
Shit eating, dickless, granny fucking prick.
There you go.
Granny fucking.
Now, how am I gonna get my stuff back? Let me borrow a gun.
So that's the scene I just talked about where she has something stolen from her. And I'm talking a lot about my love for Kevin Nealon and my love for Kirk. Yes, Jim. My love for Justin Kirk, for Andy's character, and some of the other aspects. I'm not being as kind with Nancy, but the Nancy character is an extremely compelling character and has some amazingly funny moments, especially when she reaches her breaking points, when she beats the shit out of Celia, when she just can't take it anymore and she's like completely has to dick slap all of her immediate family because they're not on the same page as she is. I don't think a lot of people could have played this character and made her as engaging as Mary did. I think maybe young Julie Dreyfus could have done it or something too. She has a similar thing where she can play a lot of different emotions. She can play funny. She can keep up with Kevin Nealon and Justin Kirk, where they're very fast-minded comics, but she can also play a little bit more of an intense scene, or play doe-eyed, or play the sexual stuff really well too. So the character of Nancy is a well fleshed out character in a series that doesn't have a ton of well fleshed out characters. I just IMDb'd Allie Grant, the girl who played Isabel. My God, she's become gorgeous. And Isabel's great on the show as well. Like, timing-wise, she has some amazing one-liners. And I know I'm going to talk a lot about the one-liners, as the dynamic of the scene stuff and what happened in Weeds can sometimes be over the top and almost to service the scenes, especially when Weeds is at its best. I think, I'll repeat this a lot, Weeds is at its best when it's comedy first, celebration of marijuana, and a underlining dark comedy mixed with some sense of fear. When it gets weird for me is when it gets too melodramatic, takes itself a bit too serious, and goes away from its comedy roots and goes away from its marijuana roots. And that's not because, hey, you're a fucking hippie sandwich-eating pothead over there, Phil. Yeah, but that's not why. If the show was I'm not saying, hey, you know what I really missed on Breaking Bad is there wasn't enough weed smoking. You know, I really wish there was some more weed smoking on Breaking Bad. Why didn't they show Badger and Skinny Pete and Jesse instead of being, when they were clean, smoking more weed, when they weren't doing meth, but doing more weed? Because it was a show about meth. This was a show about weed, and when they got into cocaine trafficking in the tunnel and all that, and Mota, it became like, oh, you want to talk about weed? We're not talking about weed. Weed's bullshit. And weed just sort of became a secondary aspect of the main storyline of the show. That's when it strayed for a little bit for me, because I think what made people not even fall in love, get into Weeds, was the comedy and the not even subtle, slap you across the face weed humor that could fit in with the Cheech and Chong Snoop Doggness, half-bakedness of the world. That it's just an underlining theme of what the show is all about. And in those seasons, and I'm going to get into it here with the seasons, and I might be wrong about the season count as we get into our season breakdowns, the show became more about the trafficking of drugs in this tunnel, and her relationship with the Tijuana, the city, the mayor of Tijuana, and all of that became so much more of a focus than sometimes you would go to Silas trying to start a grow house, or a weed storyline with Andy or Doug that was less of the main narrative of the story. So I don't know. That's a minor thing that I think the show got away from its roots, and I think that's just a trait of Jenji Kohan's work. I think it's happened, big time happened in Orange is the New Black. That show went away from what made it great and being a funny show. It's just not funny anymore. It just takes itself way too seriously, in my mind, in these last couple of seasons of it. I think it'll have funny scenes instead of being a funny show that has serious scenes. And I think Weeds at its best, and I think her work at its best, glows the same way. A over-the-top show of humor that has a few moments of real drama that they're managed to fit in there naturally into the way that they put the fucking story together. And I think when something goes, you know what? And The Walking Dead, people were talking about The Walking Dead earlier. The Walking Dead suffers from this too. It almost sounds like I'm talking about it a little bit. Gets away from being a fun zombie killing, intense thriller-based show to try its hand on drama for a whole 3 seasons or 2.5 seasons because, yeah, let's try to become drama. No. If you do something good, I say it a lot. If you're a fucking metal band that plays fucking crazy, amazing metal, Metallica, and you're fucking amazing at playing metal on Kill 'Em All and Injustice for All and that sort of shit, and then you go and do the Black Album and you really like doing the song Unforgiven, which is a decent song, or Nothing Else Matters, or whatever that other song is, and then you're like, okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna have 3 albums of like mellow bullshit that no one likes Metallica anymore. Red Hot fucking Chili Peppers, same fucking shit. You made, and I talked about them before, you made Under the Bridge, and because of that, you have to deal with the emo Peppers instead of the funk punk wearing socks on their cocks. Red Hot Chili Peppers that didn't give a fuck because they lost what they were and what made them great and what made them fucking awesome and what makes Weeds awesome was funny, and it went away from that in somewhere along the way. And I don't blame them for trying to do something new. I blame them for losing what was great about the series for a little while. I think they found it again, though. So, blah, 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 blah. She does, Tom. Vince Gilligan saw this show and said, I can do better. We're going to sell meth, bitch. Except she abruptly left like her mom. Agree, Phil. When it got too serious, I stopped watching it, and I don't smoke Mary Jane. Exactly, and I know some people that feel the same way too, that aren't weed smokers, that just feel like, I don't understand why I stopped liking it after season 3. And then I have this stupid conversation with Mike because it got away from weed. You like the weed stuff. Do you like Cheech and Chong movies? Yeah, I don't smoke weed, but I like Cheech and Chong. Of course you like Cheech and Chong because Dave's not here, man. Dave's not here. So Weeds, the dynamic of it that made it awesome, for me anyways, was it being about weed and humor. And okay. Cool. I am going to, sorry, I just got a text message about something not about this. I will talk to you later about that. Hey, Felicia. Now, we got Felicia in the live motherfucking chat right now, and I'm excited to have Felicia because eventually we are going to get into my favorite aspect of Weeds. But so, in honor of Felicia, let's take a break from our... As you can always tell when I'm trying to find something, I'm just like, hey, baby, I can't talk. Let's take a break from our quick recap before we get into season 2 for some Weeds trivia. Trivia. Fuck yeah. Now, during the second and third seasons, the opening credits were again accompanied by the song Little Boxes, but sung by many different artists instead of the original song. Artists who did covers for the opening include Elvis Costello, Death Cab Cutie, Engelbert Humperdinck, Kate McGringle, Anna McGringle, who sang the song in French, Regina Spektor, Jenny Lewis, and Jonathan Rice, Randy Newman, Angelique Kidjo, Donovan, Billy Bob Thornton, The Shins, Joan Baez, this is the Decemberists, Linkin Park, and Rise Against. Oh, yes. During the 4th and 5th seasons, writers noticed a chemistry and enjoyment of on-screen chemistry between Mary-Louise Parker and Justin Kirk. Hey, I have a chemistry with Justin Kirk. Get him in my show. I want to do a podcast with Justin Kirk now. So they decided to increase Nancy and Andy's dynamic by writing more scenes together. The character of Doug was only supposed to be in the pilot, but producers liked Kevin Nealon's performance so much and the comic aspects of the character so much that he was left in the show. Sounds like Jesse Pinkman. Another comparison to Breaking Bad, huh? I feel like I'm doing one of those books where you compare murders or something like that. And now we found another piece of hard evidence that Breaking Bad and Weeds is the same thing. No, fuck it. The fictional coastal town of Renmar near San Diego, introduced in the 4th season, gets its name from Renmar Studios in Los Angeles, which is where the series was shot. Ooh, the Regina chick also does the Orange is the New Black song too, I think, says Felicia. Oh, ba-doo-boo. Little boxes on the hillside. Little boxes made a ticky-tack. Little boxes on the hillside. Little boxes all the same. There's a blue one and a green one and a yellow and a last one. I highly recommend, as I got down a YouTube rabbit hole last night watching Weeds clips. There's somewhere if you search in the search bar there, go for Weeds theme songs, all of them or something. They have one video that has every intro for Weeds, all 100 intros. So they play all the versions of the songs and all the ones that didn't play the songs too. But it's cool. I had that on the background while I was putting together what I wanted to talk about for this podcast. I was just listening to all the different versions of the song. I'd play that, but it's a fucking song. The friggin' the music industry would be outside of my door going, "Where's our cut? Where's our penny from the revenue of this video? We want a penny." Yeah, Jesse was supposed to die at the end of season 1 as well in Breaking Bad. Spoiler alert, I guess, for Breaking Bad, that Jesse doesn't die. But initially they had cast Aaron Paul only for a bit role in that first season. It's just it's crazy to think about what Weeds would be like without Kevin Nealon and what Breaking Bad might have been without Jesse Pinkman. I think it's hard to imagine Breaking Bad without Jesse Pinkman because he became the co-lead of that show. And as some have argued, an excellent look back on Breaking Bad by James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd. He just recently watched Breaking Bad, so if anyone's a fan of The Nerd, I highly recommend checking out Cinemassacres to check out The Nerd's review of that. But he made a good point of the whole series recently, that if you think about if there's any character that has any sympathy for through all of Breaking Bad, it's definitely Jesse Pinkman, and that the whole series, that he's probably the closest we have to a focus care about character that got out of everything because of his care for children so much, and just a lot of things that made Jesse a more relatable character than a lot of the other focus characters on Breaking Bad. Justin Kirk looks pretty, but he has strange protruding forehead thing that's off-putting. No, am I scripted right now? No. What I mean is bullet points are what I'm going to talk about. The name Nancy and Andy's Fakery is breadsticks and scones. The cap that bakery employees wear is the name of the bakeries. That's BS. That's a joke. Alanis Morissette was a huge fan of the show and was asked if there was any role she could play. At the same time, Jenji Kohan was coming up with the character of Audra, based on the real-life friend, also named Audra, and offered it to Alanis Morissette. Mary-Louise Parker, Hunter Parrish, and Alex Gould appear in all 102 episodes. The theme song Little Boxes was sung and comprised by Malvina Reynolds in 1962. Jenji Kohan explains in the DVD commentary that the decisions of literally burning down a Agrestic and moving on to another storyline was due to the fact that the writers were getting bored of writing suburbia jokes. Mary-Louise Parker was particularly pleased with the idea of killing the original premise of the show, having said, loving taking risks when it comes to her acting. The running sound gag is heard whenever, and that's interesting to think that they were all on board with pushing that. I wonder how some of the other people that were locked into jobs and working, part of that overall cast felt about that, and how they decided that Kevin Nealon, you're the only one we're really bringing, and Celia's husband. And that makes me wonder that if they decided to, or if Elizabeth I keep saying Banks or Perkins. I know it's Elizabeth Perkins, and if I've said Banks like 6 times, I'm sorry. Elizabeth Perkins, if Celia Hodes wanted to stay on the show, I wonder if they would have allowed her character to stay as well. For most of season 7, Jennifer Jason Leigh was doing a play in New York City and wasn't available, so the writers came up with the idea of having her character appear in video chat scenes. She filmed those at her house during breaks from the play. Who played Nancy's sister. Jenji Kohan once said that they tried to get Justin Chatwin to reprise his role as Joss Wilson several times. You might remember him from such shows as Speechless. But he was always booked. Knowing it was their final chance, Kohan sent him a text message to him, directly asked for him to be in the series finale. He said, "Fuck yeah." Now, the aerial photo found during the intro is from Calabrese, California. The 3 regular cast members on the show shared the same birthday, November 18th, Elizabeth Perkins, Kevin Nealon, and Conrad, all November 18th birthday. The first and last episode of the show end with the same 2 songs, with arms stretched out. That's fucked up. Or it's not fucked up, but I was watching the series finale yesterday, and I'm not afraid to admit, for whatever reason, I don't know, I'm dealing with whatever, someone that I was close to passed away a couple of days ago, and I'm dealing with even more emotions built up, and I was watching the first episode of Weeds, which I was fine with, but then I watched the final episode again, and I don't know fucking why, but it's who knows why these things happen. When you're upset about something and you've compartmentalized it for whatever reason, you never know what's gonna bust down that fucking door, right? You never know. It could be a friggin' television commercial where you see someone talking about long distance. It could be when you see a baby cry. I don't know. Or it could be when you eat some bad fish or something and you lose your crap. I don't know. But what made me lose my crap about my friend passing was seeing the final scene of Weeds when they all come out. I was going to talk about this at the end, but I'll talk about it now. When they all come out and sit down on the steps together and start passing a joint around and looking at each other, and it's snowing out and they play the same song that they played in the premiere episode, for whatever reason, I got super fucking emotional in that moment. And it wasn't because of what was going on in Weeds. But it triggered it. And it was a very well shot scene. Extremely well shot. All that stuff with Jesse Chatwin meant that he appeared in exactly one in the first and last episode of the show. Exactly. All he did was appear in the first and last episode. Which is interesting because his character is so much a part of that pilot episode. You think that he might have been more of a part as the series went on, but he gets shipped off pretty soon. And they do some really funny things with him in the series finale with him and his father, and they have him rekindle with Doug. Yes. It's 16 miles to the promised land. That's the song, yep. And I promise I'm doing the best that I can. I think it's that line. Because even saying it makes me get emotional again. It's definitely the song more than it's the scene. But sometimes you pick the absolute right song to fit the action. People know that, watch my bullshit. Music mixed with the visual aspect is really important to me for good television. And they really marry an excellent, meaningful song with that final scene. Oh, I'm going to fucking lose it, Tom. Because I'm going to be so happy. It's over. Okay, so the first and last episode of the show end with the same two songs. Regular cast members Alexander Gould and Elizabeth Perkins voiced characters in Finding Nemo. Okay. On the DVD audio commentaries, creator Jenji Kohan revealed how the season finales of the show are influenced by some genre or specific directors that she loves and thinks about when writing those episodes. Season 1 was a nod to The Godfather, hence the title of the episode. Season 2 was Quentin Tarantino. The episode ends with a bunch of characters pointing guns at each other. Season 3 was Robert Altman in his ensemble pieces with lots of subplots crossing. Season 4 was Sergio Leone with the spaghetti western with big close-ups on the actors and the actresses. Season 5 was Pedro Almodovar, hence the title of the episode, and Season 6 was Sir Alfred Hitchcock, which is actually why Cohen herself makes a silent cameo in the episode. When Andy's obsession with Denmark and his capital of Copenhagen comes up, Copenhagen. It's the best mindfuck yet, Copenhagen! Comes from Jenji Kohan, who spent most of her time with her family in Denmark. Whenever the time is said in the show, they always say it's 420, a reference to 420. From seasons 4 to season 7, the introduction sequence was replaced by small clips where the viewers could see many things that were prominent in later episodes and featured the name of the show's creator instead of little boxes. Due to product placement deals, Nancy often carries It's Grind coffee house beverage. A Starbucks in Calabrese, California, fills in for It's a Grind in the opening credits. Justin Chatwin was intended to be a series regular as Nancy's sidekick, but due to scheduling conflicts, he never made a final deal. Justin Kirk therefore joined the cast a few months later after the pilot to fill the void. Very interesting that, again, it might have been a show where Justin Chatwin's character was much bigger and more of her partner in dealing rather than Andy. Very interesting. Is this the most you've read this week or month? No. Definitely not. Usually on the recaps, they're because I'm reading a review. Now explain the Shane's Pittsburgh thing, Phil. This better be here or I'm fucking giving up on your ass. But that did come back in the finale. I like how they brought that back. Pittsburgh. I want to go to Pittsburgh. Peter's address is 420, which is ironic because he's a DEA agent. A book by Christopher Noxon appeared several times in the show. Noxon is married to series creator. Noxon was also the music supervisor for season 1. Many of the exterior shots of the show are filmed in around the bedroom community of Stevenson Ranch, California, in Santa Clara, California. Lindsay Sloan was a huge fan of the show and considered the role for Maxine perfect for the kind she wanted to play at the time in her career, but in retrospect, she started regretting taking it because she found out she was pregnant the day before she started shooting and felt disconnected in the part because she was disconnected in her own body. She says she thinks she didn't line up enough with that, and they wanted the part to be. She couldn't even be in the series finale, and her character was written out. Aside from the main cast, Mary-Louise Parker, Hunter Parrish, Alexander Gould, Justin Kirk, and Kevin Nealon, Andy Miller is the only other character to appear in every season. The Shield 2002 is mentioned as the favorite show among some of the show's characters, including U-Turn, Guillermo, and Marimex. Mary-Louise Parker recommended Martin Donovan for the role of Peter. Haley Hudson only starred in episodes written by creator Jenji Kohan. Justin Kirk and Mary-Louise Parker appeared in the Emmy-acclaimed HBO television miniseries Angels in America. Mary won an Emmy for that, and Justin was nominated for an Emmy. Justin also called Mary's character Harper Nancy Drew. 2 years later on Weeds, Andy's character would call her Nancy Pants. The pilot episode was called You Can't Miss the Bear, and the host of the Wildlife Channel during the episode Carter Grizzy Sadukin is Jenji Kohan's husband in real life. Sadukin! With the renewal of Season 8, it became the longest show in episodes of Showtime's all-time history until Shameless in 2018 passed it. Jenji Kohan a few more of these, came up with characters on three brothers because she worked with Dimitri based on the Hanson brothers of Slapshot because Pablo Schreiber wasn't available for Season 7 finale. His character's absence also had to explain somehow. Between seasons of the show, Jenji Kohan made a pilot called Rona and Beverly, also for Showtime. Jessica Chaffin and James Denbo. The network eventually passed on the project, but Kohan only used both actresses on the show. Okay. Every season but the last ends with a cliffhanger. On the soundtrack for Season 1, the song David by Nellie McKay is played when Doug is smoking a bowl in his minivan during a soccer game. Flash forward to Season 6, Episode 6. The song is also played outside the Hungry Country Buffet when Ignacio is saying goodbye to Shane. Ignacio, what another amazing character. And Nancy Botwin slept with 11 men and one during Season 8. We do not have a why did Shane say Pittsburgh, but I'm going to look at that. Why did Shane say Pittsburgh on Weeds? Okay, wow. Really? Did the music just end? The perfect amount of time for that little segment? So the second season, while comedic, does have a darker tone. Nancy becomes increasingly involved in the more dangerous aspects of the drug world. Silas is 16 years old. Shane is 11. Ignoring Helliar's advice, Nancy and Conrad start their own small-scale growing operation, which gets the grow house. A lot of time and effort goes into this grow house thing, which eventually just blows up all on her, thanks to Celia, who Doug and Celia share some strong desire for revenge for Dean, who they start fucking for a little while. Silas and Megan's relationship threatens to finish after she leaves college. Nancy's children become more aware of her drug activities. Nancy and Conrad's drug business does well as Conrad's strain, which Snoop Dogg dubs MILF weed during a chance meeting at a recording studio, is popular with customers, but their high profiles cause trouble. Nancy and Conrad get intimate. Initially, Nancy's marriage to the DEA agent keeps her on top while Armenian rivals were busted. Her marriage to Peter deteriorates after she tips off Helia when the DEA plans to raid their house, and Peter presses her to quit dealing, so Peter gets killed. So Peter basically dies. The season concludes with a complex series of betrayals as Peter demands for Nancy and Conrad and all the cash for a quick sale of their crop. Helia hires Armenian mobsters to kill Peter, and she believes Peter is planning to kill Conrad after the deal. Nancy's buyer U-turn demands the entire crop at gunpoint. The Armenian I keep wanting to say monsters. Mobsters arrive at the same time to kill Peter and expect the proceeds from the big scale to pay for the hit until they realize that U-turn has plans to steal the weed. The season ends with everyone pointing guns at each other and a cliffhanger. And that's Season 2 of Weeds, another really great season. Season 3... And because we're on the road hunting, we got Tim F in the live motherfucking chat. Great to see all of you guys. And why did Shane say put bug? No, Pittsburgh. You awful speller. Pittsburgh. Why did Shane focus so much on Pittsburgh? Good question. Cohen said she referred to Carl Kurland, her longtime friend and screenwriter of St. Elmo's Fire and University of Pittsburgh professor, who brought her to town as part of Pittsburgh in Hollywood speaker series. Carl returned to Pittsburgh and Shane was looking for his Pittsburgh. Okay, so this is how Jenny Cohen described it. I'll read that one more time. In a lot of ways, it was an homage to Carl, Cohen said. She referred to Carl as her longtime friend. He's the screenwriter of St. Elmo's Fire and a University of Pittsburgh professor who brought her to town as part of his Pittsburgh in Hollywood speaker series. So Carl returned to Pittsburgh, and Shane was looking for his Pittsburgh. Okay. I remember when Silas pokes a hole in the condom. Yeah. Oh, great point. If any of you guys in the live chat remember things that I forget or yada yada over about times in Weeds, there's one point where his Silas is going to lose his girlfriend, who he ultimately ends up marrying at the end of the series. But she's going away to college, and to try to keep her there, he pokes holes in the condom to try to get her pregnant. It's fucking awful. Okay, so that is why Shane focused on Pittsburgh. So season 3 of Weeds. The season begins with Celia finding and destroying the entire harvest. U-turn pays the mobsters to leave Nancy alone and kind of buys them and takes over Nancy, and Nancy becomes her basic drug mule his trophy, becomes U-turn's trophy. During the first half of the season, Nancy works to pay her debt off to U-turn because U-turn saved her life and because Celia destroyed the entire harvest. Nancy also gets a legitimate job working for Matthew Modine. And I'm not the biggest Matthew Modine fan, and there's a side story with Doug and having to give up his role as town official because they're destroying the town and creating a uniform town together or something. Like two towns are turning into one, but it's really their town. They really get manipulated by this religious real estate organization head by Matthew Modine's character. I'm blanking on it a little bit, but it's a little heavy-handed, a little ridiculous, but really fun. Excuse me. Great to see the Bloody Talker. Hey, what's up, everyone, says Jay. Great to see you. Randomly say, see you in the live motherfucking chat. Well, I'm doing a request for someone, Jay, so I'm making sure I get it done, but good to see Jay in the live chat. Silas begins selling pot for his mother using alias Judah and meeting Tara, an evangelical Christian who enjoys smoking weed and helping him sell it. Shane and Isabel become outcasts and they start fucking with these people. Majestic. That's what it's called, the Majestic. And they want to combine. They think it's good for the town, and it's a manipulation. And it all ends ultimately, and you can tell that the writers were kind of, I'm not saying sick of writing this kind of storyline, and I don't fault them for wanting to evolve their story. But it all ends with Nancy taking the opportunity to burn the whole town down. And it ends with a very awesome visual of Nancy burning the town down on Weeds. And great to see the Bloody Talker in the live motherfucking chat right now. Good to see all you guys. It's fucking awesome. And where is this it? No. Fuck. Nancy burning down the town. Burning town on Weeds. Okay, maybe I can't get it. I was trying to find the clip. So the season ends with the family leaving and moving on, which leads us into our next season, which was season 4. On season 4, the season opens up with the last episode with the song Little Boxes, and we don't hear that again till much later. Having lost both Agreste grow house and a residency, Nancy relocates the family to the fictional town of Renmar, which is where we're introduced to Andy's dad and also her father-in-law, played by the wonderful Albert Brooks. And Albert Brooks is fucking hilarious in this role and kills it. But this season is what ultimately starts the whole drug muling shit in this season. And yes, it is. Is it too much to ask to stop complaining? And all you do is come in the chat and complain, man. Stop complaining. So either sit back, relax, and enjoy the stream, or say bye. You don't have to stay. Bye, motherfucker. So, anyways, so we're working at Nancy's store, and Celia begins abusing the ready available drug supply. Celia becomes a major fucking drug addict, and Isabel and Dean stage an intervention, which spurs Celia to enter rehab and make amends to her family. Dean rejects her attempts, insists that Celia instead locates and makes amends with her oldest daughter, Quinn, who departs during the show's integral episodes. The Mexican boarding school named Casa Reforma, new graduated Quinn and her boyfriend, a self-styled Mexican revolutionary, take Celia and hold her hostage to get $200,000 in ransom. Esteban captures and intends to have Nancy killed after discovering she has alerted the DEA to his tunnel. After Nancy has disclosed that she's carrying her child, possibly a boy, he spares her at home, and Shane steals Silas's weed, and Simone and Harmony help him sell it to his school. Doug falls for an undocumented woman who he falls in love with, but really basically he is disgusted by him. After much searching, Doug locates her and uses his coyote expertise to get her into California through his who expects her to be grateful. Instead, he replies by unapologetic nature and gives her genital warts. He's fallen in love with her and now she's slept with Andy, known as a folk hero, El Andy. Skern, Doug turns her into immigration. Realizing that the poverty effectively prevents him from having to pay any judgments, Doug writes to his estranged wife, daring her to take him to court. In a scene paying homage to the Shawshank Redemption, then he appears to prepare to hang himself, but actually masturbates using audio erotic asphyxiation. And Andy wonders if he's in love with Nancy and questions why he stayed with the family for so long. And so let's continue. And Phil, I'm an anime weeb loser, so if you want someone to help you with the anime garbage, I'm down. Awesome. I have my friend Evan coming along too, but if you want to jump in on that review, I'll let you know when we finally do it, bloody. It's the request was like the first 3 episodes or the first 4 episodes of something called Gungrave, so I got to give it a shot at some point in time. This must have been El Chapo's favorite season. So that is pretty much the season 4 and everything that happens there. Season 5, season 4 and 5, as I mentioned, were probably my least favorite, but I still enjoyed it throughout. But I think season 5 was probably the one that was my least favorite season of Weeds. Maybe it was season 6. I'm not sure. But now I'm talking it over. I'm remembering liking a lot of 4. But season 5, after Nancy informs Esteban that she's pregnant, he allows her to live, but has bodyguards assigned to her. Yeah, this is the season I didn't like as much. This was the one that this is the first one, I believe, without Celia. So I guess so it's season 5 and 6 were probably the ones that I didn't really love. So he allows her to live, but her bodyguards are assigned forces to her and undergo tests to make sure that the baby is both his. Anxious for Shane's safety, Nancy has Andy take him to her stepsister Jill, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, who's awesome in this role. In later episodes, Jill returns with Shane and Andy. Jill explains that Shane took pictures of his phone of having sex with Andy. Meanwhile, Silas draws up a new plan to start legal marijuana business with Nancy's funds. The bodyguard mysteriously disappears and Nancy panics because he's probably murdered. Quinn attempts to extort money from Celia to return her funds. Shane witnesses violence at the hand of Esteban's bodyguards, but he continues to sell pot. And Shane also gets very interesting in this season as he forms a friendship with one of the bodyguards, who's a crazy dude that wears masks and has some fun. It's fucking hilarious shit. Kind of just went through the motions with 7 and 8, as we'll go down here. Shane witnesses violence at the hand of Esteban's bodyguards. He continues to sell pot at school. When a teacher steals a bunch of the products, Shane goes to the teacher's apartment with Isabel and Esteban's bodyguard, Ignacio, who's fucking amazing. I cannot say in words how awesome the character of Ignacio is. He's really incredible. I'm watching season 3 of Sopranos, your favorite season, Phil. Will actually be some more Sopranos episodes next week with Matt. I got to figure out what day they're going to be on, but Matt and I will be doing another Sopranos rewatch next week because he has vacation. 6 months later, Esteban proposes marriage to Nancy and she accepts. Pilar, who is really only serves to be someone that Shane kills later. A powerful woman into politics forces Esteban to break off the engagement. Esteban's chief advisor arranges a birthing room in the house so there can be no record of the baby's birth. Escaping Esteban's house with Andy's aid, Nancy appeals to her obstetrician, Alanis Morissette, who takes her to the hospital and delivers the baby. To protect his political career, Esteban will not sign the birth certificate. Nancy moves back in with Andy, who agrees to sign the birth certificate, hoping she'll free herself and the rest will fall from Nancy Okay, so Shane witnessed violence at the hands of Esteban's bodyguards, continues to sell pot. Esteban wants to see his son and come to Nancy's door again, asking him to marry her. Simultaneously, an assassin tries to shoot Nancy and misses and hits Shane in the left shoulder. When Nancy confronts him, Caesar admits to being an informant for Pilar, who ordered the hit on Nancy. The execution was not completed because Caesar wouldn't bring himself to do it. Nancy kept the betrayal from Esteban in exchange for getting to shoot Caesar in the arm to avenge Shane's injury. Silas and Doug's shop have problems. Doug keeps eating their weed, is too stoned all the time, and does not keep his work responsibilities. More of the policeman they're paying wants more money. Celia gets a job at a home sales representation for a cosmetics company. Unable to sell the makeup, Celia gets Dean to put pot in it and starts selling weed packaged with their cosmetics, and kind of takes over Nancy's storyline, and they just disappear with her. So it's the end of this season where they set it up that it looks like Celia is about to become the new Nancy in town, and then they just kind of disappear. Nancy finds out that Doug stole her pot and he plots revenge. Shane eschews painkillers from his arm, saying he'd prefer the pain, stops taking them. Instead, he begins sneaking alcohol. Silas refused to go abroad and study. Andy begins a relationship with Alanis Morissette. The family moves in the Esteban house, and they all trying to start a new situation. Nancy's upset initially, but refuses to give Andy the ring, but later relents. After Andy announces that he's going to propose to Audra with his mother's ring previously given by Nancy by Judah, Nancy refuses, but eventually gives him the ring. Celia gathers Doug, Dean, and Sanjay and Ignacio and Isabel teamwork to be a team of marijuana salesmen. Pilar reveals to Nancy that she's been aware of her actions. Pilar then suggests that apparently the accidental deaths of Shane and Silas would generate more sympathy for Esteban. Nancy threatens to kill Pilar if she endangers Nancy's children. And at the moment, the exciting moment at the end of everything, when Nancy and her are arguing, you're like, Nancy, what the fuck are you doing? This woman can fuck you over. You should shut your fucking mouth. And Shane comes out of nowhere and fucking bashes her in the head with a croquet mallet, and she falls in the pool bleeding, and they have to escape. So have a good one, Paul. So after this next season, after Shane kills Pilar, the Baldwins escape, and they settle in Seattle, Washington. Silas and Shane remain the same age this season. Oh yeah, they don't age at all. It's only like 3 months of time. Nancy and Andy leave the weed dealer's house, and they're confronted by two police officers who question. Caesar negotiates trade. Basically, this season is them on their run as they spend time in Colorado, Michigan, and they go to many different places, and it all ends with Esteban and Guillermo taking Nancy to the airport to find Stevie. It ends in a very sad point where it looks like they're all fucked and nothing can happen, and they're finally caught and they're really busted. But through it all, there's this not really talked about thing where Nancy's setting up a plan the whole time, and she says to Andy, Plan C, and he's like, really? And Plan C is basically she turns herself over to the feds and confesses for the murder of Pilar, saving Shane and her whole family. So then there's a huge jump in time into season 7, which season 7, the second to last one, Silas, Doug, and Shane have been living in Copenhagen. Andy's there, and he started a new business of wonderful, wonderful tours. And Andy and Shane finally meet Nancy when she comes back and spends time in a halfway house. Jill has custody of Stevie, and Nancy wants to get back at Stevie back in New York. Shane wins the favor of an aggressive guest detective. Shane starts his process of becoming a detective. This season was not one of the better ones. We get that SEC scene that I played earlier. Silas and Emma, we got this a drug battle between Silas's group and this girl Emma that he eventually starts fucking. Nancy tells Dimitri that she has weed salesman. She starts fucking him. And it's kind of over the top. As the season finale closes, the family settles back at the table eating. The camera changes to a view of a rifle scope. The crosshair has the hairs panted around the table, finally setting on Nancy's head. The screen goes black as the shot is fired. So it's almost a over-the-top, funny dynamic, but it ends with Nancy being shot. Season 8 picks up right where it left off. The family is eating dinner when a concealed sniper shoots Nancy through a rifle scope and fires. Nancy, shot in the head, is rushed to the hospital. While she's still unconscious, the shooter is Tim Scottson, the son of her late husband, the DEA agent, Peter, from the first season. This is in this final season where they kind of try to wrap things in from the beginning. Shane who's now a member of the police academy and later an officer, arrests him with his police squad. Nancy's estranged sister Jill sleeps with both Nancy's brother-in-law Andy and Doug, and Jill claims to be pregnant but lies and is really just going through menopause. Nancy begins working as a representation of a pharmaceutical company which produces legal marijuana for people diagnosed with cancer and undergoing radiation therapy. Silas also gets a job growing marijuana at the same company Nancy did, but after Silas starts working for the pharmaceutical company, he finds himself not too pleased with the process, and it's in taking his strain and how they just destroy it to turn it into basically pills. And it has him, this realization, after much debate and deliberation, Nancy and Silas realize the industry in which they belong. This realization has them back in Regestic, formerly Agrestic, where the story began. Teaming up with past friends and enemies, Nancy develops a scheme. Now, we see Conrad again, we see Helia again, we see a lot of our characters. We don't see Celia again, which is a disappointment. In the series finale, jumps several years into the future that shows the characters have progressed. Marijuana was legalized at an unspecific time, and during the jump, the Botwins are running several successful marijuana businesses, per usual this study. And we get to see all of them running the marijuana business. We get to see in the future basically what happens with everybody, and it all ends with Stevie's bar mitzvah, where he just talks so much shit about how he's not a Jew and basically puts his mother and the whole family on the line, and all of our characters come back together for a couple of final moments and final scenes, and that's the end of Weeds. I feel like season 6, and now I'm talking back on it, season 6 and 7, 5, 6, and 7 were the weak seasons of Weeds. 1, 2, and 3 were really good. 4 was all right, and I think 4 and 8 were all right. I think season 8 had some points. The reunion of Conrad being back, Helia being back. I think the final episodes in the time jump had some interesting moments, and I think it had some really excellent character development with Nancy and Andy. But I do think the show lost some of its focus and never quite got back to the awesomeness of those first 3 seasons, which I think if you could watch just the first 3 seasons of Weeds and be done. So if you've never watched Weeds before and you're like, this sounds somewhat interesting in your babbly over the top ridiculous way, and I kind of maybe want to check out this show. If you kind of maybe want to check out this show, you can just watch the first 3 seasons and be done. And everything else that happens afterwards starts a separate storyline. And then you could watch the final episode if you wanted to, just to kind of be tied into the way everything closes out. You don't have to really watch seasons 4 through most of season 8. But the last few episodes, when they come back and they go back through some of the same cycles, it is good to see the complete circle of the story, especially from the pilot to the finale episode. It is a cheesy ending, but that's okay. Cheesy endings aren't bad in all things if a show has that kind of dynamic to it. And Weeds was always a little cheesy, and even its humor. It's not so much a anti-establishment, bullshitty kind of, or high art kind of show. I think Weeds at its core, and I think Jenji Kohan at her core and some of the stuff she does is a little corny and little edgy corny. Like, I said cock. Ha ha. Like, that's the nature of the tone to her work, and I think it works. So I think the end being cheesy and it all coming back together, I think that works, Tom. It's okay to warm your heart sometimes, Tom, and be okay to watch things that don't have balls to it too and don't have teeth. It helps. It's like why you take a tab of acid or eat some mushrooms so you can feel all emotions. So I know I'm not a robot, and I just want to watch fucking crazy shit. I want to relax sometimes. Cheesy is all right. Nancy does bang everybody. It's weird how a lot of people got arrested for selling bang weed, but now it's legalized. It is interesting. I thought about that. I was talking about that with my cousin who was arrested for weed, and I got a ticket for weed once, but I've never been arrested for it. But I do remember having to be very careful about it and having to run from the cops when you were smoking it and shit. And now it's interesting being in a state and in a lot of places where it is legalized, and it's a different mindset of being able to. I mean, I know I shouldn't walk down the street smoking, but I can. I do something, or hide out on the beach, or something in the summertime when I'm on a secluded beach. Like now, I just don't worry about it. Worst case, I'm going to get a ticket, and that makes me happy. But yeah, cheesy isn't. I stopped watching after 3 seasons of Weeds. And I bet Sylvia, it's weird how And I bet Sylvia has a much higher, oh, no pun intended, much higher perspective of the show than a lot of people that watched it all the way through. So I don't know what much else I can talk about Weeds from. I do want to play a couple of more clips here, just for fun. Weeds best of and best scenes. I get my cheesiness fixed. It's funny right now, Tom. It's like I'm trying to talk you into I'm trying to talk you into being cheesy, and you're just, I love you and your devil's advocate-ness, Tom, because you're basically, when I'm talking shit about The Walking Dead, you're like, Phil, cheer up. You're just not drinking enough to enjoy this. And now you're like, it's too cheesy, asshole. God, I fucking love Tom, keeping me honest.
Hey, I'm baking in here.
Don't. Andy,
What,
do
that's
something.
it?
Sorry, that was awful audio.
I'm Jimmy D.
Awful audio, motherfucker. So I'm gonna play a little bit of this in a second. I fit the description of a home invader in my car. Stank.
But
I live in Washington State. A lot of weed up there. Massachusetts getting close. So this is a montage that says best, and thank you for Kevin Yvonne for this clip. So I want to give Kevin Yvonne on YouTube, give him a sub if you can. Full credit for putting together this montage of the best of Andy and Doug. So let's listen to a little bit of this.
We're having a great time. We're at the dump.
Hey, I'm just an employee. I ain't management.
Could you people keep it down? I just got the baby asleep. Marvin?
Vanita?
Holy shit, how you doing?
Both my children are in jail. Perfect.
Shane Botwin.
This says best of Andy and Doug. It doesn't, so far this is the first moment we've had of Andy, but let's keep playing it.
I'm here for...
Nancy, hi. You're here. Thank God.
Did you two have a fight or something?
Yes, he hit me. Arrest him.
She's kidding. Tell me you're kidding.
I'm kidding. I walked into a door.
Really? And you, sir?
Oh, a door. Same door.
Let's just be alert and talk about how much money we can all raise now. Andy, speak to me.
If you stake me the 10 grand buy-in, there's a World Poker Classic at Commerce this week.
Majestic broke, CPA license revoked. I assume, didn't check. My life, an abyss.
Can you use the downstairs toilet from now on, Mr. Wilson?
Kick a man while he's down.
No, really, use the downstairs toilet.
I saw someone following us.
Nobody was following
I
us.
saw headlights.
Those are fireflies.
There's
You're
no
all
fireflies
fucked
in
up on
California.
Silas weed.
It's good weed.
I'm so proud.
Oh, fuck! Oh, fuck! God damn it! Oh, God, we're so out of here. Start the car.
Calm down.
What if it wasn't a lizard? What if it's a fucking alien? I'm all fucked up. Take me home.
I can't take you home.
Why didn't you bring more snacks?
Such a good idea bringing you. Calm the fuck down or I'll
All
shoot
right. All right. Lost my cool. Bringing it back in. Oh, God. Under control. Under control. Drug smuggling badass. Waiting for... don't know what. In the middle of, don't know where. With a gun. Starting to freak out again. Starting to freak out again.
El que pasa del pudín muere. Yeah. Pay your fare, gabacho.
Oh, right. Okay. Let's see. There we go.
$6.
That's like 6,000 pesos.
Oh, look, Asian with big tits. Oh, what is that? Was there ice cream up the street?
I love her. I love you.
We had sex. I'm sorry, we did. Just once. Okay, twice, but not 2 separate times. One time. And then again after.
What the fuck was that?
What the fuck? Yo, bitch, in the closet.
Uh-huh.
Open it. Open real wide.
I'm gay.
So thank you so much for that video. I do appreciate that. To again Kevin Yvonne who posted that. So I'm gonna play a couple more clips of it. There's one thing I'm specifically looking for with Andy and Doug that I'm looking for. I want to play, but maybe I cannot find it right now. But either way, there's a lot of fucking amazing shit from Andy and Doug here. Oh, I know I can look at fucking history. There we go. So to kind of sum up Weeds, it was a very funny series. I really appreciate Jasmine for requesting this. Just it gives me an opportunity to talk about a series that I've watched many, many times, but I haven't really had many of an opportunities to talk about because I started doing this after the series had already ended. So there's certain shows that ended maybe right before I started babbling all this fucking crap. So it's fun to go back and look at some of those series because they were big parts of me starting to binge watch stuff, being able to sit down with a fucking sandwich and watch episode after episode of things. Weeds was right there with Deep Space Nine as when I started binging shit, I started to get into Weeds. And I remember when Stephanie and I first got together and is my first exposure to I'm like, Netflix? What's Netflix? And I stayed up all night after she passed out binge watching Weeds because I'd never really watched it before. So I kind of got obsessed with those first 3 seasons. And I want to say I binge watched those first 3 seasons in like 2 or 3 days, something like that. It was some ridiculous thing where I just got a giant stack of sandwiches and she was away for a weekend and I just sat there and binge watched the entire fucking first 3 seasons. And then I slowed down and then I caught up and I think it was right around season 5 or something where I stopped. Whatever season was around season 2010. So, and then I watched the final 2 seasons live. So I definitely, Weeds has a very special place in my heart of my love for binge watching television shows and of this era of TV, even though it's maybe not as developed or all the checks and balances of later series to come. It's one of those middle ground after shows like The Sopranos, but before Breaking Bad really started to change things or become, you had these kind of main characters, these gray main characters. I don't even know what year. Did Weeds or Breaking Bad start first? I could be up my complete ass. Marcus Alvarez is awesome. He was also in Sons of Anarchy, which would be another series I would include in this list of those middle area times. What year did Breaking Bad start? Breaking Bad started in... What year did it start, motherfucker? First episode was 2008. And Weeds started in 2005. Okay, so Weeds was 3 years before. So Weeds did start. So those first 3 seasons of Weeds that's what someone said in the live chat. Someone saw that Vince Gilligan saw those first 3 seasons and was like, I could do this better, more dramatically. And with meth, I could make Mr. Chibbs turn into Scarface. Yeah, Weeds was first. Okay, so I'm not completely out my ass. So Weeds kind of started us into this thing. You could go The Sopranos into Weeds, into Breaking Bad, into a lot of other things in between, but those were sort of the orders. This was one of those middle periods to get us into the age of television that we are now, where there's just an abundance of amazing shows. We have people in the live chat shouting out shows for me every week to babble about, and there's so many great shows to watch, and there's so much time that you need to focus. But what is exciting about that for me is shows like The Expanse that I've had Alex suggest many times, or that Marvel show, or who else is that? The 100. Someone says binge watch The 100, or the show that Broke, and definitely check out Broke, that he watches, that he's making reaction videos for, that just came out this week, that my friend wants me to watch as well. And I'm trying to look down Here we go. The fucking Legion. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word Legion. I know I'm gonna watch Legion at some point too. But some of those series, it's good to kind of let episodes build up so I have an opportunity later to binge watch because of how much I enjoy that and how much I hate watching things week to week. So some of these shows that people are suggesting to me, I am definitely going to watch at some point in time. It's just a matter of whether I'm going to watch them week to week or binge watch them. And either way, I will talk about them at some point in time. From this point on, I watch something, I'm going to talk about it. I'd rather go back and watch the old shit I haven't seen and than start watching new stuff. That's how I kind of feel too in general. Except for certain shows that I just have to watch the new episodes I'm obsessed by and I can't wait another day. And that's probably why I don't start trying things more, because I have a very addictive personality, and if I watch one episode of something that I enjoy, everything else in my life pauses and I have to find time to watch just that. So it's almost a fear of trying too many things because I'm gonna like it too much, and then my focus gets all over the place because now I'm gonna just want to talk about this or that. So a lot of it is that as well. Echo said Vince actually told that when he saw Weeds, he almost stopped developing Breaking Bad because of the similarities. Fortunately, he didn't. I'm so glad he didn't, because more as time goes on and starting to rewatch that a little bit here and there, and I can't wait for Better Call Saul in September. And talking to someone recently that just rewatched Breaking Bad, and also I mentioned earlier James Rolfe's review of Breaking Bad, reminded me how much I love that series. And even thinking about Weeds and talking about it and being mentioned now, I get the similarities. And Broke asked earlier if it bothered me when people go, oh, they're the same thing, and don't want to talk about the subtle differences or the not so subtle differences. Where they're the true is it's about someone selling drugs, a drug dealer, and about a egocentric, manipulating kind of character as a central focus character. But the similarities stop there. And there are other points that you can say, oh, well, that happens and that happens. But ultimately, one's a comedy with some dramatic moments, and the other is a pulp noir, dark comedy at times, maybe, but in a really not in a funny way, not in the way that it can help be funny. but yeah, so I can't wait to talk about Breaking Bad again. Big Kev in the live motherfucking chat. Felicia says, I watch too many shows. Currently, I'm watching 30 shows a year. Oh my God, Phil, I'm like you. I have to watch live shows with commercials. Yeah, I have to watch live shows with commercials. You give me a fucking break. So a lot of times I do wait and binge watch things when they pop up on Netflix or HBO Go or whatever, or HBO Go or CBS All Access or whatever one of those fucking things I have. Broke says, stop promoting me, damn it, and promote my Patreon. Okay. Broke wants me to promote my Patreon. You guys want some extra fucking content? You want to hear an extra podcast a month and maybe some extra videos and see me post random pictures and also get your reviews in, like you have requests. You can join the Patreon. You can find the link in the description box below. You can see it. You can see it up above there. It really helps us out on a month-to-month basis, as well as your super chat donations, buying t-shirts, helping the affiliate links, all that crap you can find in the description box below. I'm sorry I don't talk about this shit enough. I should, and at times I'm gonna have to keep doing this, but I really do appreciate all the people that do support us, and if you guys want to help support us, you can find all the ways in the description box below, from regular donations on PayPal to buying t-shirts to buying something that says Joe's always right on it to setting up Patreon and getting some extra content every month with an extra podcast and some random shit. This month, I recently released a Patreon podcast and also Joe Dirty Locks, a voicemail I got from Joe Dirty Locks, where asking him to review the episode for a second time when YouTube took down the video by accident from my Walking Dead video that is now back up. But when it got taken down, I frantically text Joe, we're going to have to do another review of The Walking Dead. And he said, check your voicemail. And he left me a voicemail. And I made that available for the patrons to listen to. So if anyone's curious, You can check that out in the description box below. You happy, broke? You happy? I feel all uncomfortable. I feel dirty. I feel disgusting inside. You happy? And at the same time, subscribe to Broke Black Man 94. Oh my fucking God. You guys are awesome. Wait, if I join Patreon and pay you and shit, you will review my show? Well, one of the payment cycles is I think it's the $5 one is you can make a request for any review you want, but you already have one in the tank, Broke. I'm like, Broke, don't worry about it. You already have one in the tank. Joe is always right, just not about Westworld. And I'm excited to say that Joe will not be with us during Westworld. We will let Joe join us in midweek podcasts and bitch on Westworld because I just want to get Joe's voice about there if he's watching it live. But Joe will not be doing the Westworld recaps with me. So I think Joe's just trolling us with that show, to be honest with you. I think it's all Big Joe being a dick about it. So to go to my search history or my play history, I want to play a couple of more Andy stuff from the series Weeds. Enjoy.
Booze. Sometimes it's what's for dinner or breakfast and lunch, in between meal snacking. You never know when you're going to be called upon to make nice with a bottle. Today's lesson is how to hold your liquor. Keep a solid grasp on the glass and don't put your pinky out. I'm kidding, you know what I mean. How to not make an ass of yourself. When drinking, you can't forget about everybody around you.
Very, very, very important.
Don't be that guy, or
Nope.
even worse, that girl. It's a YouTube world, and your screaming, pantyless ass will go viral before you're even hungover.
Tell me about it.
Step one to avoiding that. Eat. Eat and drink. You hear those words together for a reason. I like bread products.
Bread's good. Soaks it up.
Spongier the better. Texas toast,
Takes it
Hawaiian
all
bread.
in.
Heavily yeasted.
Love it.
Soaking
More yeast, the
products.
better.
If you're like me, your worst nights are always during Passover. Matzah does not cut it.
Oy vey.
Also, go fatty early. Fried and fatty foods are your friend. If you're drinking, fatty turns to hottie anyway.
And to answer Sylvia's question, what's the next show up for recap? This Sunday night, we'll be reviewing the Walking Dead season finale with Joe on Sunday. That will be what is up. And then after that, the next show up next week will be a little bit more hectic because it's school vacation week. I have a lot of kids shows that I am doing. But starting, I will try to pop in here one or two times. Matt and I will be doing a Sopranos rewatch on one of the days of next week, either Thursday, Monday, or Tuesday. I don't know quite yet, but Matt will be over for one of those 3 days to do some Sopranos stuff. We'll also be talking a little bit about the Andre the Giant documentary when Matt's here. And if you haven't checked that out, watch that on HBO. And then after that, Westworld premieres that next Sunday, on Sunday the 22nd. So I'll be doing a Westworld recap. And during Westworld, I will also be getting back to Game of Thrones. Joe and I talked in the last week in April. I'm not sure what day or evening yet. We have to finalize a time. But the last week in April, we'll be doing our Cersei podcast and then trying to do a Game of Thrones cast every couple of weeks until Con of Thrones. And then when Con of Thrones happens, I'll be doing a daily blogs, video blog on our cross-country trip that Stephanie and I are going. We're driving from Boston out to Texas, making a lot of stops along the way down in Orlando, have to spend a day at Disney, which we might get to hang out with someone you guys might know from the show down in Disney World. That's not a definite yet, but we're going to be in Disney World one day, and we might, in fact, bump into somebody. Not going to say who that is, but I might get to do a quick video down there with somebody. And then we'll also be stopping in Memphis and a couple of other places, Austin, Texas. Going to be watching a show at Double Toasted Studios, which I'm really excited to be able to be in the audience in Double Toasted for the movie review extravaganza that Wednesday, which I think is going to be the Han Solo movie review at that point. So it'll be fun to be there. So maybe I can stop and try to see the movie along the way. And then going to do as many live streams at Con of Thrones as I can. Some from my phone. Some I'll try to get some of the people that are out there as well back up to my room for some fun. Hey now. Or to go to their room for some fun. And do some podcasts and stuff like that. So so that's basically what's coming up on the next couple months on the channel. And so Westworld and Game of Thrones mainly, and then some other random shit along the way. So there you go. And Big Kev with the super chat donation. Thank you so much, Big Kev. I gotta spin the fucking wheel. Oh yeah, motherfucker. And he gets spin again. Oh yeah, here we go. Has the video stopped? Am I stopped? Am I stopped? No. Okay. So let me continue just in case I haven't stopped. Just in case I'm still chugging along in the so that's to answer your question, what's coming up very soon. So let's play a little bit more of this.
You know what I'm saying. Don't deny it. You've woken up in that bed.
Yeah.
All right. Now that you've got a tampon for that flow, let's talk order of ceremonies. If you're going to make your stomach a mixing bowl, start with the liquors. The clearer, the better. Gin, vodka, etc. Brown is bad.
Brown.
What can I say? Racists invented alcohol. Beer is always good, keeps the pace slower. You never look stupid holding a beer, and if you do, you don't want to be at that party. Now, while we're on the subject, let me tell you about the drinks that you do look stupid holding. Anything that ends in teeny and doesn't start with mart. Anything with more than 2 fruits in it or on it. Anything that looks like a Starburst creamed in it. Anything that takes the bartender 20 minutes to make. And unless you're escorting children around chimney top.
Yeah, Double Toast is funny as fuck, Killmonger. I was lucky enough to be on the trivia section on one of their shows a couple of years ago, and been listening to them since the Spill days, and I'm very excited to finally get to watch one of their shows live in studio. And I'm gonna bring a bongo in there, so maybe I'll get to go up there and make an ass out of myself for a few seconds. But I'm going there with the intention of just being a guest in the audience. But I will try to live stream from like right outside the studios and get one of them on, get those guys on there at the end of their show to scream at you for a second or something. But I'm very excited to fucking go out there and get to see a show live. And in general, just check out Austin. I've heard a lot of awesome things about Austin, Texas, and I've never had an opportunity to go there. I've been to a couple of other parts around there, but a couple of other cities in Texas, but never Austin.
Lose the umbrella. If you're drinking and you think you're gonna make like a penguin, don't try to hold it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a show from, if anyone wants to go back and see that episode, Taka might know. If you ask him on the Discord, he might know what episode it was. I'm trying to remember what movies they were reviewing, but it's in the trivia section of a podcast they did in 2016 of one of the movie review extravaganzas. I could try to look back and figure out around when the date is if people are fans of Double Toasted and want to hear. I'm on for probably about 10 minutes or so babbling with them. They did promote the show. They promoted the Issues program, played the promo for the YouTube channel, and babbled with me for a little bit. So yeah, so if anyone wants to check that out, I'm making an ass of myself. I'm in that Chris Farley mode when I'm starstruck, and I'm like, "Hi guys, I'm really excited to see you." Hi. Which is probably what it would be like if I was when I'm out there too. I'm gonna be all, "Oh, hi guys, oh my god, Martin Thomas is in front of me right now." So yeah, if anyone's fans of Double Toasted and they want to check that out, I'll try to remember. Taka might know, but I forget what movie it was. But it was a movie review extravaganza in 2016, I believe. Mainly from the awesome Midnight Chat Attack with Nick Diaz, who was a guest on The Walking Dead last season, and Midnight Chat Attack is fucking funny as hell, and comes from all fans of Double Toasted that come together and do a podcast and weekly live streams, or multiple weekly live streams. A channel here on YouTube, you can check them out. They always do some very fun fucking content, and Ganja, Nick, and all the rest of them are fucking hilarious. So yeah, I'll try to find that. I'll try to find which episode that's on. I sent them a thank you in my email message after it happened, so I can kind of look back at the date that I sent the email, and I can get back to you guys on the next podcast, or let you know in the Discord if you're a member there. And if you haven't, you can join the Discord in the description box below this video. or in the live chat when one of the mods throws out the link. If you want to jump on in, and I'll post that in like the captain's room or something like that, or share your stuff. If people want to check out my silly appearance in Double Toasted, I would absolutely be down for doing that, Big Kev. Oh, Big Kev, you got... What'd you get? You got a... Oh, you almost got it, Big Kev. You got a bite of a fucking sandwich, motherfucker. You almost got... You were very close to review commentary of your choice right when you were saying I should review a Chris Farley movie. Should I push that ahead? Oh, yeah, the Spill Crew stuff was great. I love the dynamic of all of those. I do listen to One of Us.net a little bit as well, and obviously Cargyle has an amazing podcast as well now too, and it was really great to be able to see Tony, the co-host, or the Sidekick 3000 join Corey on Let's Do This on Double Toasted, because he was probably one of the most hilarious people ever to step in front of a mic, or is, because he still was when he was on there this summer. Tony is maybe one of the funniest guys on the fucking planet. And I think Corey is exceptionally funny from all the old Spill crew, and Martin is, Chris is, and I like new Corey, and I like a lot of the new crew on Double Toasted as well. I have nothing bad to say about anyone on Double Toasted. But I really love that crew, love the loading bar. As people know, sometimes on the channel, Nick Hodges joins us, and Nick was a part of the loading bar there, and Rage Select is on YouTube. You can check out Rage Select, which is the spiritual successor to the loading bar and their own thing with Professor Jeff, and just great fucking stuff. But so I was a huge fan of Spill in general. Just so many great personalities in that site. But there was something about when the four of those guys, or any combination of the five of them, were together that had a special, that was probably my favorite group of podcasters ever. And they just fucking kick ass. So anyways, enough of that shit. I could seriously babble about my love for Double Toasted and One of Us and Rage Select and Spill, the Spill family, for fucking hours and hours and hours. So many great podcasts and personalities to come from that circle of that talent circle. So yep, and see, right now I just need to go back to my house to a van down by the river. Oh my goodness. Okay, everybody, enough babblery. Thank you so much one more time to Jasmine for the amazing super chat donation. I'm gonna go honor Big Kev's super chat donation and go take a bite of a sandwich. I gotta go fold up another sandwich and celebrate the Weeds review with some, well, weed. And if anyone hasn't already and you enjoyed this stuff, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Share the channel with a friend. Think about joining our Patreon. Think about buying a t-shirt, especially if you're coming to the Con of Thrones. If you're one of the people that's coming to the Con of Thrones, you can check out in the Discord or on Twitter or on Facebook or Google, any of the places we're at. I posted the link to the schedule that I will be on the panels I'll be on for Con of Thrones. There's also one more that I'm going to be a part of on Sunday afternoon, a YouTube Live one, that the information isn't quite filled out about, everyone that's going to be involved with that yet. But so there's going to be 7 things all together if anyone's coming out and wants to check that out. And of course, I'll also be running around that place, getting to talk to a lot of friends, probably making a couple of jumps in a couple of other people's videos. I know I'm going to be hanging out and jumping on a couple of things with Kyle and Tony, hopefully, and so many other people that are going to be out there. So I'll try to get some people on here with you guys. But if you are going to the con, come check out some of the panels I'm going to be on. And if you want, definitely grab a t-shirt to rock it at the con. Filthy Issues Guy t-shirt. I'm also going to put the Jamie Bear picture that I have, so we can all know that Jamie's my binky. So if you want to rock the Jamie binky shirt as well, I'll get those posted ASAP. Make sure you check in on the t-shirt shop often to see some new posts. And I'm also going to put the Yellow Brick Road to Poop one up too. just for shits and giggles. So if anyone wants that to be added to our shit buddies, Joe is always right, and Filthy Issues Guy t-shirt. So check that out. If you're going to the con, rock it. And make sure you let them know you want me back again. But no, thank you guys. You guys are fucking amazing. And if you haven't already and you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it with a friend. We'll be back. this Sunday. I know, when are we getting that Game of Thrones trailer? I would say not for a long fucking time. As I mentioned, Joe and I will be talking all about Game of Thrones soon, getting back into this. I did that little mini video, and I'll do more of those little mini videos, or I'm thinking that I want to do more of those character videos about how I relate to them, but do them as live podcasts. I like doing short videos too. They're fun. And I'm not saying I'll never do short videos, especially I'd rather do like storylines or silly songs or things like that in short videos. But with reviews, I always would rather go live. I just feel that sometimes I should attempt. It's a good challenge for someone that talks and babbles and goes ridiculosity as much as I do to try to stick to a script. And I have to stick to a script. And I am a robot. Hi, everybody. I am Phil the Robot, talking about Game of Thrones. Tyrion and Jon are important to me. Very important. But no, we're going to do a lot more podcasts. And as I mentioned, the Cersei one is our next podcast, which will be the final week in April. Guaranteed. Joe and I are already going over it. I already got what we're going to talk about. It's going to be similar to this podcast, but about Cersei. Where I read a bunch of crap about what Cersei's been through. And talk about our love for the awesome parts, playing some sound clips, playing some voicemails and texts or calls that we have for anyone that loves Cersei. Talk a little bit about her, some impressions of her future. And make Joe do some impressions. But yeah, this Sunday, The Walking Dead Live season finale. Watch Joe and I celebrate to be done with The Walking Dead for some months. Thank you to everybody. Talk to you soon. Not enough. Not enough, Sylvia. Not enough. Someone should record the panels to post to YouTube. I know Kyle might be doing that for his. So I think they're because it's his panel. I'd have to talk to Kyle to be sure about that, but I thought he said that he might be taping his. So you might see at least one of them that I'm on. I'm really excited to be on that one with Kyle and Gemma and George. And I'll go over a little bit more on a live stream once we get to Game of Thrones and on that preview. Who and what I'll be on these panels. But you can see all that information now if you click on those links. And just click on my name. You can see everywhere I'm going to be. Stalk me. It's okay. I like it. Can't stalk the willing. Talk to you guys next time.